Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Oh boy, we're going to continue on with number 2 of Magic Mirror stuff. And we're going to finish that up tonight with this book, Franz, Bardon, and the initiation into Hermetics. Gotta love that. All right. Well, I hope you're all set because we got a good show. We're going to jump right back into that. Thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. More than you could understand because it keeps this show going. Keeps me going. Keeps me enthused on being here because you're all part of the family, the Soul Tribe family anyway. And with that, we're gonna get right into this. But anyway, yeah, please comment, subscribe, share with your friends. It's all good. The more people I can reach, my goal is to get 1,000 subscribers. That's by the end of the year. That's a good deal. I'll be able to do some lives. Hopefully, I can get that before the summer when we're going to go on the road, maybe do some camping, come live to you from out in the woods. Wouldn't that be cool? I could do it from my phone, things like that. We're gonna get to that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Anyway, we got to get right on with this before I get distracted. Start looking up things that I wasn't thinking of or whatever because, who knows? But anyhow, we are getting right there. Look at this. Oh, Mirror Wizard. Are you going to become a Mirror Wizard? I could be a background entertainer for a commercial. You too can become a background wizard. Just take these 10 or 12 easy steps. Follow the instructions completely. Do not vary from the road. And then after a few years or maybe a few months, depending on how hard you work at it, you too could become a magic mirror wizard by scrying into the mirror and looking really cool at it and imagining things. You too can see things like people, events, the future, the past, who knows? Cure diseases and things like that of the mind and whatever. But until you become that professional, you aren't going to get there unless you listen to my broadcast here right now. Pick up that book that you're going to eventually get, read through it, look at the words, follow the directions, put some study and work into it, and you too can become a mirror wizard. Anyway, see, I could do that. I could do commercials. Anyway, we're not charging anything for this information because guess what? We are just doing it because we want to. We're going to be learning more and more all the time because improving our minds is where it's at. Now, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. You are the people that keep it together. So, where are we at here? We're at the magic mirror as a communications link between the living and the departed human beings. That's the living and the dead. It's the barrier that separates us from everybody else. Should you wish to influence a living friend, an acquaintance, or any other person with the aid of the mirror and give the order to write or visit you, then proceed as follows. Now, you work on this, maybe sometime, maybe by Halloween, you could be able to scry into the mirror, contact loved ones, departed loved ones, and speak to them. Anyway, let's move on. Load the surface of the mirror with the Akashic and meditate that the Akasha is everywhere between you, the mirror, and the friend, and that neither time nor space exists. Retain this feeling meditatively and wish to see your friend in the mirror immediately. You will see the person immediately as in a panorama, and you will also see the immediate surroundings as well as what the person is presently occupied with. At the same time, you will feel as if you were personally right next to that person. If the surroundings are well known to you, you can confirm that you have seen in the mirror to be the truth by immediately visiting that place through mental travel. If the magician has properly practiced and trained his astral senses, then his experiences as his work with the magic mirror will occur through mental travel and will correspond with the facts. However, should this not be the case, then this experiment has to be repeated as often as necessary until you are absolutely certain that what you have seen concurs with reality. This can easily be traced and established through personal inquiries. Yes. So you know what that says? See, somebody wrote this down and said, let's invent a cell phone with a camera on it. And that way I can transmit and we can do FaceTime. I'm just joking, people. See, the thing is magic is a technology we don't understand. And the world that we live in has invented technology to mimic those other technologies that we don't understand. Why is the mirror working? Well, why does a cell phone work? It does the same thing. It doesn't have cords. It has a battery. It has radio waves that you can't see. You don't know what it's doing, but it still looks as though it's working. Now, with the magic mirror, you still have a black screen. You have Mother Nature's earth, and there's electricity and frequencies all around us. How didn't you know that you're not jumping on one of those frequencies and going to that place where this person is to see them and their surroundings? Interesting thoughts, just so you should know. Okay, back to the book, because my words are just my opinion. Okay, you should see that a person you have contacted is asleep. Then, with the aid of the imagination, attract the spirit, which is, of course, the mental body, into your mirror and condense it with your will to such a degree that it is as if the person were physically standing before you. As soon as this is accomplished, then issue your orders to that person. The subconscious of that person might object to your orders and try to reject them. In order to avoid this, employ the same method as given in the chapter on autosuggestion. Namely, you must issue the order always in the present tense and always in the form of an order. No true magician would sink so low as to issue an order which, from the magical point of view, would have a questionable motive, since he is always aware of the fact that the Akasha principle would punish him severely. Remember, there are rules. There are kind of rules out there on how to do things. If you don't abide by those rules, you're going to get bumped, put it that way. And what'll happen? Who knows? Furthermore, another possibility exists through the magic mirror. The magician can make astral contact, and another magician who is on the same level of development with another magician will hear whatever the magician speaks into the mirror. Distance of no consequence. At times, the words spoken from that distance are so audible that they can even be perceived by the another person close by who has sensitive tendencies. Departed human beings are called upon to appear in the mirror in the same manner, but you have to concentrate yourself into the kasha and the image of the person, or think intensively that the person should appear. Should you call upon the departed person who was not known to you, concentrate on a point of reference at the time when the person was alive. Then call the person's name into the akasha, awaiting a meditative state of mind the appearance of the departed being. If a very short time that the departed being will appear in the mirror, whereupon the magician can express his wishes. In the beginning, communication with the departed person will be in the form of thinking out loud. Later on, if the magician so wishes, he will be able to communicate verbally. Furthermore, the magician has another possibility. He can have the apparition of the departed person step out of the mirror, and then he can condense the apparition through the earth elements to such a degree that it even becomes visible to anyone's untrained eye. It is left to the individual magician's discretion how far he wishes to pursue the specialized work. If in my second book, Practical Practice of Magical Evocation, you will find more details on how other beings can be called upon and condensed. But certain rules have to be followed in order to do this properly. Well, there you go. There you go. You can have your own little set of stands there. Okay, employment of magic mirror as an aid to contacting powers and beings. In my second book, The Practice of Magical Evocation, this method is described as detailed. The following remarks are included merely as a matter of interest. When the magician loads the mirror with akasha and with the aid of the imagination draws the being's character or sigil onto the surface of the mirror with the appropriate element and pronounces the name of the being analogous to the universal laws, he will be able to come into closer contact with the being of his choice. The contact gives the magician the ability to obtain everything from the being, whatever its particular quality or knowledge and powers may be. Of course, this applies to all other beings and powers as well. Okay, next chapter. The magic mirror as a means of influencing oneself or others. How can you influence yourself or others with a magic mirror? Well, let's see. Okay, every magic mirror can serve as an excellent tool or influence oneself, especially a magic mirror which is loaded with the fluid condenser. In this respect, there are many applications which are too numerous to mention. Here are a few practical examples. Through the imagination or lung and poor breathing, draw light into the body from the universal ocean of light until you can feel as if you are glowing white, with heart like a sun, impregnating the light with a wish concentration. For example, the light or the imagination bestowed upon your intuition, inspiration, or any other desirable ability, or that it always, but that it all allows you to recognize a particular truth. Remember, the truth is always out there. With the aid of the imagination, let the light stream through your hands unto the surface of the mirror and accumulate there until the last spark of light has passed from your body unto the mirror. Turn the accumulation of light into a white glowing sphere or sun, which emits enormously intensive rays. Immediately repeat this loading procedure several times, one after the other, until you are quite certain that the mirror has been loaded to such a degree that its rays emitted from the mirror penetrate your body, soul, and spirit to such an extent that they release a desired influence. Through your willpower and imagination, and with a firm conviction, banish this light into the surface of the mirror for as long as you are in need of it, and then dissolve it. You must be so completely convinced of the effectiveness of this influence of light that no thoughts or doubts enter your mind. It is the firm conviction which confers upon the light rays this enormous dynamic energy, which almost produces physical effects. Many years ago, I loaded a magic concave glass mirror to such an extent that it broke into hundreds of little pieces after this occurrence. I built it for the purpose of a mirror made from oak. Okay, next, sit in front of the mirror and meditate about truth along the lines of which are of interest to you, something you want to find out, or the solution to a problem. If, after the meditation, you engage the Akasha principle within you or place yourself into a state of trance, you will achieve your purpose rapidly. When you are working in this manner, you will be pleasantly surprised with the results, and later on, whatever the reason of your meditation may be, you will hardly be able to dispense with this practice. Your magic mirror must be protected from the view of other people if you intend to keep it in a loaded condition. One of the best insulating materials is silk. Therefore, you should wrap your magic mirror in silk. You can also direct the rays of your magic mirror onto your bed and let them be effective all night to influence your subconscious while you are asleep. To achieve the purpose to which you aspire, you should wish to achieve even faster results. Then you can increase the effect of auto-suggestion. Well, look at that. You can do it at night while you're sleeping. Remember, don't let anybody else see the mirror. Remember to wrap it in silk. Remember, that's why they always keep those mirrors in a nice, one of those nice little velvet bags. I wonder what velvet does. Anyway, so wrap it. Don't let anybody else see it. It's a good thing. It is self-evident that in this manner, you will not only awaken your understanding and abilities and have them unfold into larger extent, but you will also influence your soul and spirit on the direction you desire. Should you no longer require the influence of the mirror, or should you require another type of loading for different work, for example, Akasha or element emanations, magnetic or electric fluids, then terminate the first loading through the imagination in reverse order and dissolve the light back into the universe again. You can also influence and expose other people to the rays of the magic mirror. However, whatever you wish to load it with cannot be directed through your own body. Instead, it must be guided directly from the universe onto the surface of the mirror through your imagination. For the magician, this method opens up a great variety of possibilities, and with no experiment, for example, hypnosis, methodic states, and magnetic sleep, which for the intuitive magician are completely understandable, and he will therefore arrange the practice accordingly. Well, there you go. You, as a magician, can, because you're a wizard, if you're becoming this wizard, you can direct it through your body, but it's mostly your imagination. You are directing it through your brain, through your imagination. Check that out. Okay, next, the magic mirror as an instrument of imagination for impregnation of rooms and treatment of the alien. Well, that's the dogs barking. Sorry about that. Okay, the similar practice of this impregnation of a room with the aid of a magic mirror. Load your mirror with the fluid that corresponds to your wish, such as light, biomagnetism, or Akasha, and accumulate it to such a degree directly from the universe through the imagination that the rays diffuse through this room you wish to impregnate. During this accumulation, determine the period of time of the effectiveness. You may, if necessary, irradiate the room in which you live with rays for days. Wow. If necessary, irradiate the entire room for days, and even months, for the purpose of obtaining success, health, inspiration, and peace. You can just live in the light of this magic mirror. You should find it necessary. You can increase the accumulation by condensing the dynamics, through a frequent repetition of unloading. It follows common logic that ailments can be removed when the magic mirror is loaded accordingly. You can also allow the ailing person to sit in front of the mirror, and within a few minutes, he or she should begin to feel better, depending on, however, on the amount of expanding force of the energy which has been loaded into the mirror. Remember, you are loading the energy. The magic mirror can be employed for all these purposes, and in the hands of a skillful magician can be an excellent tool for development. Now, following the instructions for the practice of room impregnation. Okay, if you are working in a room which you want to influence through the magic mirror for your own purpose, then the mirror has been loaded through your own body. Should the purpose be for benefit of other people, then the energies for loading the mirror are drawn directly from the universe. Do not let these energies pass through your body. Therefore, depending on the purpose, draw an enormous quantity of light, either directly from the universe or through your body, and banish it with the aid of imagination, in order to condense form into the surface of the magic mirror. The produce of this light accumulation must be repeated until the accumulated light assumes the form of a sphere or disk, which diffuses a glowing white light similar to a strong bright lamp throughout the entire room. Through the intense repetition of this exercise, you must not only see the imagination light imaginatively, you must also feel how it flows directly through your body, like X-rays. On the basis of your conviction and your beliefs, transfer your wish through the imagination into the light, and while doing so, think the light automatically increase in power hour by hour and day by day, and that the imagination force becomes more penetrating and dynamic. Well, go figure that. So there you are, doing the thing. Determine the effectiveness in the same manner described in the biomagnetism, either by determining the imagining power to an effective or certain period of time, or to have a lasting effect. Transfer unto the banished light into your imaginary sun the task of assignment. We haven't even got to the other stuff. The wish which the imaginative narrative power has to fulfill, for example, success, inspiration, enhancement of intuition, peace, health, etc., depending on what you require most. What you have accomplished this task, place your magic mirror in such a position that it can act like a light emitting projector, and that you are constantly subjective to this imagination. As this point, the magic mirror needs no further attention, because it continues to work automatically as an instrument of imagination, then influences you or other people with the desired virtue, and thus you will be constantly under the influence of imagination. The magician will find that he will hardly be able to dispense of the method when working, exercising, investigating, and meditating. Should the mirror be loaded magically for oneself or for others, for the instance, in the treatment of an ailing, for the complete recovery, you will notice that you can accomplish considerably more while you are under the power of imagination of the mirror. Also, you will not be not be under the power of you'll not become fatigued as you would otherwise would. An alien person who enters your room or who is directly subject to the imagination of the magic mirror will experience an immediate relief as far as his ailment is concerned. The more the degree of effectiveness depends upon the degree of accumulation upon the surface of the mirror. Also, more than one person can be effectively treated with the imaginative powers from the magic mirror. As a matter of fact, as many people as the room will hold can be treated effectively. This method is also a fabulous tool for professional magnetic paths or those magicians who are active in the field of treating the sick or influencing people. Well, there you go. Are you looking at the magic mirror? Okay, impregnating of the room or healing, influencing imaginations are not limited to a room. The emanating power can be transmitted over the great distances to one of or several people through the imagination. However, the imagination has to be changed accordingly in order to fit the prevailing circumstances. We do not have to emphasize how valuable the magic mirror is as an instrument of imagination in the hands of a magician and how many different possibilities it has to offer. The magician will never exploit his magic mirror and bring the dishonor by using it to spread bad influences upon other people. So don't do it, people. Don't bring bad influences. Use the magic mirror the way it's supposed to be used. Do good things with it. The magic mirror as a transmitter and a receiver. The magic mirror can be employed for emanating pictures and transmitting sounds. It sounds like a cell phone, doesn't it? Much like a radio with a transmitter and receiver. I will touch very briefly on two practices which any magician can accomplish without effort, provided he has successfully completed all the previous steps. The first practice describes the mutual emanation of pictures or thoughts between two equally developed magicians. The distance between two magicians is, of course, no consequence. Whatever it be, 10 or 1,000 miles or more, the possibilities of communication are multiplied. It can occur through a thought, pictures, correspondence, words, and feelings. The practice always remains the same, and you always employ one and the same principle, the Akashic principle. See, there you go. That's the cell phone. FaceTiming it back in the day. No batteries required, no power, no cell phone towers. Just you, the magic mirror, and whoever you want to talk to on the other side. There you go. In the beginning, it would be advisable for the magician to adopt a particular procedure with a partner who has attained the same level of development as he has, or at least controls the Akashic principle well. Agree with your partner upon the exact time as to when to transmit and when to receive. Both transmitting and receiving can take place at the same time. Let us begin with the practice of the magician who does the transmitting. First of all, he has loaded the mirror with Akasha, and through the Akasha principle, he transfers himself into the state of trance. Through the imagination, he eliminates the concept of time and space between himself and the recipient to such a degree that he feels as if he is standing right next to the partner. His fellow magician, we know from experience through previous experiments, this feeling arises completely, automatically, and later on. In the beginning, transmitting only simple symbols such as a circle or a triangle with which that the receiver partner may set in his mirror. Wow, look at that. You know, receiving magician. Let's change this. You can just go with a pocket mirror. See, look at it's a flip phone. The receiving magician can also to make certain preparations before the transmission begins. He has to load his mirror with the Akasha and transfer himself through the Akasha principle into the state of trance and clearly recognize in the mirror what his fellow magician is transmitting. If both magicians are on the same level of development, then the symbol or picture which the transmitting magician is projecting into the mirror will be visibly perceived by the receiving magician. Exchange roles once the time for transmitting and receiving is agreed upon has elapsed. The transmitting magician becomes the recipient and the receiving magician becomes the transmitter. It is always advisable for the becoming proficient in both aspects, transmitting as well as receiving. You should not become disillusioned by initial failures. Be determined and continue the practice diligently. After a few attempts, you can be certain that you will meet with success. Once you are proficient in successfully receiving simple pictures, more complicated images can be selected in order to increase the difficulty of the exercise. Yeah. And in due time, pictures of living people, of towns, country scenes, and other accomplished in a simpler manner, as with the first preparatory exercise regarding the image in the mirror. When the magician has gained the necessary experience, he can proceed to the next exercise, with which is to transmit thoughts without the imagination. In other words, to transmit thoughts which have been perceived only by the intellect. Once you have acquired the necessary experience as a transmitter and receiver, then take the further step. With the aid of the imagination, attempt to write short words into the mirror which the recipient can read in the mirror. The words will be followed by sentences, and eventually you will be able to transmit entire written messages. Just think of it like that. See? Write the words on the thing. And here you go. You have acquired the necessary experience to transmit. Okay. In the beginning, the message will come in the form of thinking out loud, but as you progress from one exercise to the next, it will become more distinct, as clear as a telephone conversation. Yeah. Well, that don't look like a telephone conversation. Let's see, in the Orient, many initiates employ this method to send messages to one another. This ability is referred to as messages through the air. It has to be understood strictly symbolically, became in reality, and this is accomplished through the Akasha principle. I am of the opinion that it is completely logical and requires no further explanation. That feelings or emotions of any kind can also be communicated between the transmitter and the receiver. When the magician has acquired the ability to transmit to the receiver, the other magicians, and that are on the same level of development, he will also be able to intercept conversations or pictures and transmissions which take place between other magicians. In a similar manner as with radio transmissions in magical technology or terminology, this is referred to as eavesdropping. Wow. So it was a party line back in the day. And with the magic mirror, it's a party line again. And when you are talking on your cell phone, yes, you know, the government's listening, it's a party line again. Only you're sharing it with Big Brother. Go figure, huh? In this part of the chapter, I will describe the magic mirror as a transmitter of thoughts, words, pictures to people who are not magically trained and who do not have the faintest idea that things can be transmitted in the manner or they can to be influenced in this manner. All the magician has to do is to banish his intentions into a mirror loaded with the Akasha, with the order that this intentions be transmitted to the particular person. When the magician imposes the Akasha principle between himself and the unprepared person, the message will be accepted by that person in accordance to his tendencies. However, as long as the magician has not reached the level of proficiency required for this practice, the person to be influenced will become very restless in the minute the message is transmitted and will think intensely about the person transmitting the message. In this instance, the magician can, in due time, the person receiving the message will perceive it to be his own thoughts and will not have the ability to differentiate between the message that was transmitted or whether it was originated in his own innermost. Should it be the interest to the magician if he specializes in this field of transmission. If he can see, so transmitting to a person who ain't ready for it can make them sleepy, tired, or restless, make them irritated because they're hearing your voice, your thoughts in their head. Okay, wow. Thoughts and communication come directly from himself. This practice will have its effect on the recipient, either immediately or in the course of transmission. The magician can also bring about a transmission through the mirror, which has a successive or gradual effect, or which will be accepted by the recipient only when he is receptive. This moment in time usually occurs when the receptive person is not disturbed, inhibited, or distracted by external influences. He then accepts the transmission either before he falls asleep or upon awakening in the morning. In these instances, the magician concentrates the thought, the wish, the communication into the mirror with the order that what he intends to transmit to the particular person will be accepted by the person when the appropriately receptivity arises. So basically, you're going to put it out there, and he's going to accept it when he's ready for it. Because the mirror will be effective automatically until the thought of communication has actually been accepted. However, if the communication has been sent, then the mirror has fulfilled its task. When the thought or communication has been accepted by the person to be influenced, then the surface of the mirror will again be completely clear. Okay, one last one here. I think that's, yeah. Oh my gosh, this mirror thing is a long one. We're going to have a third show on this, boys and girls. So we're going to stop this right here. Wow. Okay. And we're going to have day 3 of this. Sorry it's so long, but magic mirrors are very interesting because the next chapter is the magic mirror as an instrument of defense against harmful, undesirable influences. Yes, using the mirror to protect yourself from undesirable influences. Well, that's a lot of the world right now. Anyway, so we're going to pick up there because that's interesting, and I think that's important. This is going to be the week of the magic mirror, don't you think? Anyway, join me again tomorrow for Magic Mirror Part 3. Now, I really appreciate y'all for coming and sticking with me through this. It's been really fun. Thank you all for coming tonight. Big shout out to each and every one of you. Now, go out and do something nice for your neighbor. Give them a big smile. If nothing else, wave at them. Go down the road. I remember you used to drive down the road, and you see that person, you'd wave a little bit, just like that. It makes their day. Like, hey, does that guy know me? Somebody out there is really friendly. That was really nice of them. Used to do that all the time. People don't do that so much anymore. But anyway, remember, go out and do something nice for somebody. Remember, be the frequency you want to receive, everybody. Love you all.